The sun-kissed docks of Miami pulsed with the gentle hum of luxury yachts and the chatter of the affluent. The air was alive with the scent of salt water and the distant thrum of music from the yacht parties. Amidst this backdrop of opulence, a story of unlikely confrontation was unfolding. Meet Rachel, a wealthy white woman known for her sharp tongue and even sharper elbows. She had a reputation for being ruthless in business and unforgiving in her social circle. Her latest target was Anthony, a successful black entrepreneur who had just arrived at the marina to discuss a potential business deal involving one of the most luxurious yachts in the harbor. As Anthony stepped onto the dock, he was greeted by Rachel, who stood tall, her designer sunglasses perched on her nose, a look of disdain twisting her features. "This isn't for your kind," she said, her voice dripping with condescension, eyeing Anthony from head to toe. Anthony, taken aback by her sudden hostility, asked what she meant, but Rachel just smiled, a cold, calculating smile. "You'll see," she said, turning to walk away, leaving Anthony wondering what had just happened. Little did he know, this was only the beginning of a battle of wits, wealth, and pride, one that would expose secrets, lies, and the true nature of the people involved. As Anthony watched Rachel disappear into the crowd, he couldn't shake off the feeling that he had just been thrown into a storm he wasn't prepared for. The question was, would he weather it or would the tempest consume him? The yacht, a symbol of luxury and success, loomed before him, but the real question was who truly owned it, and what secrets lay hidden beneath its gleaming surface. The story was about to unfold, revealing a tangled web of racism, power, and deception. Anthony took a deep breath and stepped forward, ready to face whatever lay ahead, but as he reached the yacht's gangway, he received a mysterious message on his phone. "Meet me at the end of the dock if you want to know the truth about Rachel and the yacht. Signed, a friend." Anthony's curiosity was piqued. Who could be behind this message, and what did they know about Rachel's true intentions? He decided to follow the lead, walking towards the end of the dock, the sun dipping into the ocean, casting a golden glow over the marina. As he approached the end of the dock, he saw a figure cloaked in shadows, beckoning him closer. Suddenly, the figure stepped forward, revealing a surprising ally, one who would change the course of Anthony's life forever. But just as Anthony was about to learn the truth, the ally's phone rang, and a voice on the other end sent a chill down their spines. "You've been warned. Back off now or you'll regret it." The ally's eyes locked onto Anthony's, filled with a mix of fear and determination. "We have to get out of here now." Anthony's heart raced as they were rushed away from the dock, the mystery deepening, the stakes rising. And as they disappeared into the night, the sound of the yacht's engines roaring to life, Anthony realized he was in this much deeper than he ever imagined. But who was behind the wheel of the yacht, and what did they have to do with Rachel's racist remarks? The answers would have to wait until later, but one thing was certain, Anthony's life was about to take a dramatic turn, one that would test his resolve, his courage, and his wits in ways he never thought possible. Anthony followed his ally through the winding streets of Miami, the city's vibrant nightlife blurring around them. They finally stopped at a small, unassuming cafe, where his ally revealed himself as Marcus, a former employee of Rachel's family business. "Rachel's not just any rich woman," Marcus said, his voice low and urgent. "She's part of a powerful family with deep roots in this city. They're used to getting what they want, no matter the cost." Anthony's eyes widened as Marcus handed him a folder filled with documents and photos. "This is evidence of Rachel's family's shady dealings," Marcus explained. "They've been involved in money laundering, bribery, and worse. And Rachel's right in the middle of it all." As Anthony scanned the documents, his mind reeled with the implications. He realized that Rachel's racist remarks were just a small part of a much larger, more sinister game. Suddenly Marcus's phone buzzed again. "We have to go," he said, his face pale. "They've found us." As they rushed out of the cafe, Anthony saw a black SUV speeding towards them. "Get down!" Marcus yelled, pushing Anthony to the ground. The SUV screeched to a halt and several men jumped out, their faces menacing. "You're coming with us," one of them growled, grabbing Anthony's arm. As Anthony was dragged away, he saw Marcus being held back, his eyes filled with a desperate warning. "Don't trust anyone," Marcus mouthed before the men tossed Anthony into the SUV and sped off into the night. Anthony's heart pounded as he realized he was in grave danger. Where were they taking him? And what did they plan to do with him? As the SUV hurtled through the city streets, Anthony's phone slipped out of his pocket and onto the floor. It buzzed with an incoming call from an unknown number. The screen lit up with a single chilling message, "You're mine now." And then everything went black. Anthony regained consciousness to find himself in a luxurious, dimly lit room. He was tied to a chair with no sign of where he was or who had brought him there. A figure emerged from the shadows, Rachel, her smile cold and calculating. "Welcome, Anthony," she said, her voice dripping with malice. "You're just in time for our little business meeting." As Rachel began to taunt Anthony, revealing her plan to use him as leverage against his business partner, Anthony's mind raced with escape plans. But before he could act, a sudden noise echoed through the room, the sound of breaking glass. Rachel's eyes narrowed and she pulled out a phone, her fingers flying across the screen. "Security breach," she barked into the phone. "Take care of it. Now." As the guards rushed out, Anthony saw his chance. With a surge of adrenaline, he broke free from his restraints and lunged at Rachel. But just as he thought he had the upper hand, the lights flickered and died, plunging the room into darkness. In the chaos, Anthony heard a voice he never expected, his long-lost brother, thought to be dead for years. "Anthony, run!" the voice shouted. As Anthony stumbled through the darkness, he heard footsteps behind him. He burst through a door, slamming it shut behind him. But as he caught his breath, he realized he was trapped. The door had no handle on his side. And then a figure loomed in front of him, a figure he knew all too well, his own brother, holding a gun to his head. "Why?" Anthony whispered, his world crashing down around him. The brother's eyes locked onto Anthony's, filled with a mix of sadness and determination. "For your own good, brother," he said, his finger tightening on the trigger. Anthony's eyes widened in horror as his brother's finger tightened on the trigger. But just as all hope seemed lost, a loud noise echoed through the room, and the brother stumbled backward, the gun flying from his hand. Anthony seized the opportunity, grabbing the gun and pointing it at his brother. "Why?" he demanded, his voice shaking with emotion. His brother Marcus looked up at him with tears in his eyes. "I was trying to protect you, Anthony. Rachel's family has been blackmailing me, forcing me to work against you. I had to make it look real or they'd hurt you, hurt the people you care about." Anthony's mind reeled as he processed the revelation. He lowered the gun and Marcus stood up, embracing him tightly. But their reunion was short-lived. Rachel burst into the room, her eyes blazing with fury. "You fools," she spat. "You'll never leave this place alive." As she raised her own gun, Anthony and Marcus stood back to back, ready to face whatever came next. But just as Rachel's finger was about to pull the trigger, the sound of sirens filled the air, and the room was bathed in flashing lights. Rachel's eyes darted wildly and she mouthed a single word, "No." The police stormed in, arresting Rachel and her accomplices. As Anthony and Marcus were led away to safety, Anthony saw a figure watching from the shadows, a figure he knew all too well. The true mastermind behind it all stepped forward, a sly smile spreading across his face. "It's not over yet, Anthony," he said before disappearing into the night. Anthony's eyes locked onto Marcus, a single question burning in his mind, "Who is it?" Marcus's expression turned grave and he whispered a single word, "Dad." Anthony's eyes widened in shock as he stared at Marcus. "Dad?" he repeated, his voice barely above a whisper. "What do you mean?" Marcus took a deep breath before explaining. "Our father, he's been manipulating everything from behind the scenes. He's the one who's been pulling the strings, using Rachel and others to get to you." Anthony's mind reeled as he processed the revelation. He thought back to all the times his father had been absent or distant, and how he had always felt like he was living in the shadow of his father's expectations. The police took Anthony and Marcus to a safe location, where they were finally able to confront their father about his actions. The confrontation was intense, with Anthony's father revealing a deep-seated jealousy and resentment towards his sons. In the end, justice was served and Anthony's father was held accountable for his actions. Rachel and her accomplices were also brought to justice, and Anthony was finally able to find closure and move on from the ordeal. As Anthony reflected on the experience, he realized that the journey had taught him a valuable lesson. "The greatest danger often lies closest to home," he said to Marcus. "We must always be vigilant and protect ourselves from those who would seek to harm us, no matter how close they may be." Marcus nodded in agreement. "And we must also learn to forgive and move forward, even when faced with the darkest of truths. True enemies can often be those closest to us, and that forgiveness and vigilance are essential in navigating the complexities of life. The end. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more powerful stories that uplift Black voices and expose hidden truths.